Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Nahmadu wa nusalli ala Rasul Kareem. We're discussing the important chapter today of Babu Sujudi Sahwi. We already started yesterday that if a person makes a mistake in Salah, how does he compensate for that mistake in Salah? And we discussed, we did start yesterday, but we'll just recap again. Remember, we said certain things in Salah, those who are following from the beginning, certain things are farz. It is a rukn, if you leave a farz out intentionally or unintentionally, you have to repeat your Salah as though your Salah is not done. If you leave out a farz as though you were just going up, down, kiss the ground, right? Your Salah is not done. If you left out a wajib intentionally, whatever reason, you are lazy, you know this is wajib, and you left it out, your salah is done. It is done. So we'll say technically this message is already salah, but in a very, very deficient manner. So you left it out intentionally, you got no option, you have to repeat it in the time. If you don't repeat in the time, it will go in your record books that Abdul Rashid Tariqa, he read his Zohar namaz to start the day in a very deficient manner. And when we say you read in a very deficient manner, just remember this here. But this is an arm qaida. Don't refer to this. It refers right across the board. When we say something is makruh, when I say it's in a deficient manner, it means it will have much less reward. So I repeat that there. If you left out a wajib, now remember, we know what is a wajib thing. Those who are from the beginning, they will remember what is wajib. Like on those, if you were not from us, with us from the beginning, if you remember from madrasa, like to recite Surah Fatiha, to recite the surah with it, for your body to come to a complete standstill in every rukn, to make the first tashahhud. Right, these are some of the wajibat. There are more. So if you left out a wajib, what will happen? If you left it intentionally out, you got no option, but you have to repeat it in the time. So if you don't repeat it, you left out a wajib intentionally and you don't repeat it, so it will go in your books of deeds that you, so-and-so, Mr. Rashid Tariqa, he read his Zohar namaz, but in an absolute deficient manner. And I said, when I say deficient manner, it means a great deal of the normal reward will be lost, right? Second thing. Third thing, by mistake, you left out a wajib, you forgot, whatever. Then there's two options. You can make sajdah sahu, and we discussed that sajdah sahu is to make two. After you make your first salam, you make your one salam, then you make two sajdas, and after the sajdas, you make the shahud, and you make another two salams after that, right? So that you can compensate for the wajib, and inshallah, when you do that, you'll get the full reward. In other words, when you left out a wajib, there was a decrease in the reward of your salah. But when you done your sajdah sahu, your reward will come back to normal, right? So it's the third scenario. Fourth scenario, even you forgot a wajib unintentionally also. So you had the option of making sajdah sahu to compensate for your salah. So if you forgot to make sajdah sahu also, but you can make sajdah sahu until you don't stand up or you don't speak. But once you speak and you stand up, then it's finished. Now there's no more sajdah sahu. So you made salam, you spoke to the person next to you, you ate something, or you broke wudu. Now the next scenario is now that if you want to get your full reward, you'll have to read the namaz in the time. And the preferred, also the Hanafi madhab, is in those cases where we said it's wajib to repeat your namaz. The first case was where you left out a wajib intentionally, and we said you can't make sajdah sahu. There we say it's wajib to repeat it. And here also, you left it unintentionally, but you forgot or you didn't know. Maybe you asked somebody else to come, I read my namaz, I never sat after the first two rakats at the shahud. You didn't know you must make sajdah sahu. So Mulana said you're supposed to make sajdah sahu, but since you never make sajdah sahu, now you will have to read it again. So we call this in Arabic, is called wajibul i'ada. So wajibul i'ada, according to the preferred opinion, is only when in the time. Although some ulama say once the time come out, then once the time come out, then it's too bad. Hatis, you've already recorded in your book that your sorcerer is been done in a deficient manner, and that's how you'll get. You can read as much nafil as you want, whatever. It's not going to cover up for the deficient salah. It is not going to cover up for that deficient salah. Anyway, so that's where we are so far. So okay, we discussed yesterday the ikhtilaf about reading it. According to the Shafis, you read it before the salam. According to the Hanafis, you read it after the salam. although we say it's just an ikhtilaf of awlawiyat, it's not an ikhtilaf of being permissible or impermissible, it's just an ikhtilaf of what is better, right? Right, so read a new lesson, inshallah. So that I basically gave you the whole crux of this. Now we're just going to give you more examples of. So we gave you the usul. If you understood this usul, inshallah, you understood the whole bab. So what we're going to do now is going to give you furu'at, more examples. So these examples will help you. Many times the usul, the principle, is better understood when you got more furu'at with it, right? قال يلزمه السهو لازم يلزمه ويلزمه السهو Okay, stop there. So here's the next principle. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ويلزمه السهو إذا زاد في صلاة فعل من جنسها ليس من الأطراف. سهو سجد سهو become واجب إذا زاد في صلاة when he increases in salah. أي فعل من جنسها that is from salat. You know what? Like in salat, you get qiraat, you get ruku, you get sujood, you get tashahud, etc. So you mean you add something from there, laysa mina, but it's not supposed to be at that point in time. And here they give the example. They say like this, like for example, you made three sajdas. Now it is from salat. Obviously, if you something is not from salat, then the salah will break. You done some, you ate crisp after the first two sajdas, then your salah will break. But here we're saying this is first thing. سجد سهو become واجب إذا زاد في صلاته, he added in his salah فعلا من جنسها. So it's an action from the genes, the species of salah. It means it's a normal act of salah, but ليس منها, but this place where you done it is not the proper place. It doesn't right. Carry on. هذا يدل على أن سجدة السهو واجبة. Yeah, so this here we're saying. Yeah, so this ibarat here, this which says that, look here, يلزمه السهو, that sajda sahw become wajib. This shows وهذا يدل على أن سجدة السهو واجبة. The ibarat of Quduri shows you it is wajib was sahih, and this is the correct, that it's wajib. It's not sunnat that you, if you want to make the sajda sahw, you can make it. If you don't want, you got a choice. No, it's necessary. When you done this, it's necessary, right? لأنها تجب بجبر النفس تمكنت العبادات فتكون واجبة. Yeah, interesting. So because لأنها, why we say it's wajib is, this is why we say لأنها تجب لجبر نقصان. It has come wajib لجبر نقصان, to compensate for a deficiency. تمكن في العبادة, that came about in your ibadat, right? So because you made an extra, you left out a wajib completely, or you made an extra wajib. So when you make extra wajib, you're delaying the next rukn. You know what I'm saying? So there came a deficiency in your salah. So you have to make the sajda sahu to compensate. So firstly, like I told you, Sahib HIDAAYAH, first what he does, he brings you the dalil and naqli. There we done the hadith. There we done, in fact, yesterday, I read in yesterday's sabak, few hadith that shows you that Nabi Sallallahu died. Then he brings you a dalil, a logical point. So he says, what's our logical point, right? So he says, فَتَكُونُ وَاجِبَةً كَالدِّمَاءِ فِي الْحَجِّ. Similar like how it is wajib, the dam is wajib in Hajj. Like, you know, so it's very, very similar to this. Inshallah, Allah Ta'ala take us soon. We'll do the kitab. Allah take us for Hajj, and Allah take us to the kitab of Hajj, inshallah. Amin, say Amin to both. Allah take us for Hajj, and Allah show us the bab of Hajj. So similar in Hajj also, you have the arkan of Hajj. That if it's not found, the Hajj is not done at all. Like if you don't do Arafah, you must Arafah completely. Like how in Salat, if you don't do the Qiyam, you don't do Ruku, you don't do Sujud, you do everything else perfect, but you leave one Rukn out, what happened? Your Salah is not done. Similar like it in Hajj, you get Al-Hajj al-Arafatu. Hajj is Arafah. If you done everything perfect in Hajj, but you never do Arafah, there's a Rukn. You can't compensate for it. But the main thing is saying, similar like how in Salat you get wajib things that can be compensated for with a sajda sahu. Similar in Hajj also, you get certain things that are wajib. And these wajib things, if you left them out or you done them out of their proper time, etc., then it will be compensated for with a dam. A dam means you slaughter a sheep in the haram. Like if you, for example, you done your tawaf, you didn't have wudu, Or na'udhu if you've done your tawaf when you are in menses, if you have to slaughter a camel, etc., etc. So yeah, this is the logical proof. Similar for how deficiencies are compensated for in Hajj by a penalty. Same year, Salah, deficiencies in Salah is also compensated for through the medium of a SAJDAH. You understood it? I'll read it again. تجب لجبر نقصان. It becomes wajib لجبر نقصان, to compensate, to cover up نقصان, for a deficiency. تمكن, you got تمكن there, you got sorry. يتمكن في العبادة. It comes out, it comes about in the ibadat. فتكون واجبة, so it will also be wajib كالدماء في الحج, like the dam you pay in Hajj. Inshallah, when we come there, we'll do all the details. Right, read the next text.
إذا كان إلا ترك واجب أو تأخير ركن ساهيا هذا غير، إنما وجبت زيادة لا تقع عن تأخير ركن أو ترك واجب.
Right. So he's saying, so the here is saying, since sajdah is wajib, so you cannot make sajdah wajib if you leave out a sunnah, because a sunnah is not compulsory. So how can you make something compulsory by leaving out something which is not compulsory? So since sajdah is wajib, it can only be wajib if you left out something which is wajib. You understand what I'm saying? I can't penalize you with something which is more severe than the thing you left out. If you left out a light thing, how can your penalty be a more severe thing than the thing that you left out? You understand what I'm saying? So the fact that we say sajdah is wajib, that would mean sajdah will only become wajib when you left out a wajib thing. Sajdah can't become wajib when you left out a sunnah. How can sajdah become how can the penalty be severer than the crime? How can what you're saying, in other words, the penalty must be commensurate with the crime, right? So you're saying, وَإِذَا كَانَ وَاجِبًا, since sajdah is wajib, لَا يَجِبُ إِلَّا بِتَرْكِ وَاجِبٍ. Now this is a broad usul. If you understand this usul, you understand all the maslas. It will not become wajib compulsory illa bitarki wajibin, except that you leave out a wajib. You know all the wajibat of salat I mentioned earlier. Or ta'khirihi, or you delayed a wajib. Like for example, I told you, you're supposed to do, for example, you're supposed to recite the surah, we've done this in detail. You're supposed to do in the first two rakats of a farz namaz, surah Fatiha and a surah. Now you never read a surah in the first two rakats, you forgot whatever. Now you read a surah in the third rakat or the fourth rakat. So what you done now? It was wajib for you to recite the surah. So you delay the wajib from the first two rakats to the second two rakats, from the first shafa. So the first shafa so you delay the wajib. So one is by leaving out a wajib completely, or the other one is by delaying a wajib, right? He's saying, illa bitarki wajibin aw ta'khirihi, or you delayed it, أو تأخير ركن, or even if you delayed a whole rukn. Example of delaying a rukn, for example, I told you, after you read two rakats, after you make your two sajdas, right, you have to stand up for the next rakat qiyam. So even you're reading a two rakat salah, right? So you must make one sajda, two sajdas. So after two sajdas, you must stand up for qiyam. So qiyam is a rukn. But what you done, you forgot. You were thinking about something in your salah, and you made three sajdas. So what did you do now? You delayed your qiyam, which is a rukn of the next rakat. So you delayed. So by delaying a wajib, I gave you an example, like putting the surahs in the next rakat, or you delayed a rukn. You delayed a rukn. And I'll give you another example. You made a three sajdas. Or after the first rakat, you were thinking about what you're going to cook for lunch, whatever, and you went to set the tashahud after the first rakat. Now, look here, tashahud is from jins to salat, it's part of salat, but you say, but tashahud is such a nice thing, you didn't durud and salam, so good, why must you be punished? You say, look here, what did you do? After your first rakat, you're supposed to engage in the rukn of qiyam. So by doing this tashahud, your salah won't break, because it is not an act that is alien to salah, it's part of salah. So although you're doing this tashahud in its wrong place, it resulted in you what? Delaying the qiyam. It resulted in you delaying the qiyam. So because you delayed the qiyam, you delayed a rukn, and when you delay a rukn as well, then also suggest how become right out ta'khir rukn, and this is sahiyan. This is the critical thing. When it was done forgetfully, I remember I told you in the beginning, if you leave out a wajib intentionally, then SAJDAH will not help you. You will, if you want to compensate for the deficiency in your salah, you'll have to read the whole salah again in the time. Otherwise, it will just be recorded as a deficient, and Qiyamah Day you will have lesser reward. Right. So if you done intention, you say, no, I just must to make 3 rukus today, man. I don't worry. Well, I must to make the show after my first rakat. Then there, your salah will be done because you never engage in something that breaks salah, but you discharge your salah in a deficient manner. What you done? You discharge in a deficient manner, so your salah will be done, but in a deficient manner, and you will have to read the salah again, right? وإنما وجبت بزيادة لأنها لا تعني أن تأخير ركن أو ترك واجب. Yeah, that's the same thing I explained already. You say, but if you're doing something extra, why must you make SAJDAH? Or if it was done unintentionally, why must you if it's done, make SAJDAH, if it's done intentionally, why must you repeat your salah? Because doing something extra will always result in delaying something from its place. They're saying, إنما وجبت بزيادة, the SAJDAH sahw only becomes wajib بزيادة when you're adding something لأنها, because the SAJDAH sahw, or the extra that you're doing, لا تعرى, what تعرى لا تعري, لا تعرى أن تأخير ركن, it will result in you delaying another rukn, like I told you. This is like detail explanation what I told you earlier. When you made the extra sajda, it will delay you from doing the qiyam in the proper place. Right? لا تعرى أن تأخير ركن أو ترك واجب, or it will result in you leaving out a wajib. Like I told you, it is wajib to recite the surah in the first 2 rakats. Now you recite in the second 2 rakat. So what you done? You left out a wajib. Or for example, another example is this: it is wajib to sit for tashahud after the first 2 rakats, so you never sit. So what happens? You left out a wajib. So that we say tarka wajib, because this will result in doing a ziyada will result in إنما وجبت بزيادة, because when you do an extra thing, it will result in delaying a rukn or leaving out a wajib act. So if you're going to do something extra, you changing the order. You understand what I'm saying? But it's wajib that after this you do that. It's wajib that after you read your 2 rakats or you make your 2 sajdas, you must stand up for qiyam. But here you never stand up for qiyam, so you delay the order. You know, that's what we call tartib is wajib, isn't it? In salat, tartib is wajib. So by adding something extra, you're leaving out tartib, which is wajib, and so you left out the wajib. So that's why ziyada will also necessitate, right? قال ويلزم إذا ترك فعلا مسنونا. The next ibarat here, they say, it will also become wajib when you leave out a masnoon thing. Now this is the ibarat of the Quduri. But I told you before that it will, so yeah, masnoon doesn't mean masnoon as in the fiqhi categorization of something which is less than wajib. But what it means, something that is proven from the sunnah, not something which is proven from the Quran. That's what he's saying. So he said, so Sayyid Daesh explained that, yeah, masnoon doesn't mean a sunnah act. It means something proven from the sunnah which is wajib. كأنه أراد به فعلا واجبا, as though he intended with this فعلا واجبا, a wajib act. But why did he use masnoon? إلا أنه أراد بتسمية سنة إن وجوبها بسنة, that he, except that he intended بتسمية سنة, by naming it, by calling a sunnah, that أن وجوبها, that is compulsion, right? بسنة has been understood from the sunnah. You understood that? So many times also in the fiqh books, you see sometimes they refer to something as being masnoon, but there it doesn't mean it's masnoon, the fiqh categorization of sunnah being something less than wajib. Sometimes when you say something is masnoon, it means it is proven from the sunnah, it is not proven from the Quran. So there are many wajib things in the salah which is necessary, is wajib, it is proven from the sunnah, it is not proven from the Quran. So this is what they're referring to. Okay, we stop there, time is up, we'll continue again later inshallah. So now we'll switch over to the tafsir inshallah.